Welcome back to our mini-series on maths anxiety. Today we're looking at seeking help with maths anxiety and what we can do to help ourselves.
Okay, Katie, you've come to talk to me about addressing your maths anxiety. I have a suspicion that you might be able to remember some incidents that contributed to it, some negative experiences. Would you like to tell me about one of those?
Yeah, so I think when I think about my maths experiences, primary school was probably fine. And secondary school was, I struggled, but I had a maths teacher, Mrs. Mason, her name was, and she really did help. She sat, we did one-to-one, and she really helped me with the mental maths side. I remember going there in that summer before my GCSEs, and she even said, "We've made such progress, so and I'm really proud of you. You've made a real progress on this." And I think that that boosted my confidence and perhaps helped me to decide that that's what I wanted to do, to become an engineer. And then when I went into sixth form, so to do A levels, it felt like a completely different language. It didn't feel like maths anymore. In fact, numbers seemed to be, didn't have any numbers at all. It was all letters and formula, and I didn't really understand what was happening. And I had one maths teacher who used to just say the same thing, but louder. If you didn't understand, it's okay, I'll say it louder in case you didn't hear what I said. The same words, just louder. And then if you asked again, he kind of just, and then would sit down and sort of say the same thing again, and just tapping of the book, pointing at various things. And so that was one experience. And then in kind of a hope that perhaps if I just had more maths tuition, if I had a maths tutor. So I had a maths tutor for a year, and this maths tutor used to just tell me how to answer a question by doing it for me, really. So we would work together in the loosest sense of the word, answer the question. But again, if I was asked the same question again or a similar question, I had no idea how we'd come up with the answer, to sort of sit at the end and go, so the answer is n equals 3. Yes. And I would sort of nod and, yeah, okay, if that's what the answer is, then yes, I'll agree, because I don't understand what's happened here. And then went on to FE college and did the whole of the maths A level again in the evening, and still failed, quite with flair, and got an N for my A level maths. And not many people have managed to get an N, and I don't even know what that stands for. But I think at the end, when I didn't get that maths A level, it felt like a relief, because I just thought maybe then I don't have to ever do maths again, and I can walk away thinking that's it now. I don't have to do it anymore. But it's certainly stuck with me. And I remember getting those results, and the teacher saying to me, "If only we could give out marks on effort, you'd be top of the class." But we can't. So it's certainly there, this idea that being left behind, definitely having someone explain something in exactly the same way but not understanding, trying and still not understanding. This is, just not, it felt like it just wasn't going in, and it must be something wrong with me because everybody else in the class seemed to understand. So yeah, definitely now when I look back, all of those things probably contributed to my maths anxiety.
I feel furious, really furious, because there went a successful engineer. And we're claiming that we're short of engineers, and yet we're still not addressing maths anxiety and exclusion. Okay, so you've shown me that I'm right, that your experience is based in having unpleasant experiences. If I give you the analogy of a ladder, and I can show you this image that we can put on the screen for the people watching. There are two kinds of ladders, if you like, to maths A level. One, the rungs are too far apart, and the other, the rungs are close enough, and you progress up the top in smaller steps. So I have a student who was told she wasn't clever enough to do maths A level in 2 years, and she knew what I was saying. So she came to see me, and we did AS in 2 years instead, because she needed to go a little bit slower because of who she was, but she still flourished in A-level standard maths. So that, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think it's taking it slower, smaller steps. Certainly, just even thinking back to those maths A-level, it still makes me feel a little bit sick. Just now. So I still, if someone said to me, "Do you want to do it again and we can just do it slower?" My initial response would be fingers so wide apart. No. Do I?
Okay,
Somebody says to me, "Would you like to repeat a really horrid experience in your life?" And my answer is no, thank you very much. But if it was low stakes, that might be different. But yeah, good question. So would if the rungs were closer together with more support, would that help? I think it probably would, but my initial response really is that already. So we really have to work on just taking a step back in order to very gently close that hand up again.
Talking about psychological safety, and if I worked with you on your maths, I would need, or your statistics, I would need, and you would need to know that you would be safe and that we wouldn't be repeating that horrible experience that you had last time. So we need to put some safeguards in place. And one of the things that we use for safeguarding is the growth zone model. So you and I would learn to communicate using the growth zone model, where this is represented by red. I'm in the red zone. I can't think, stop talking, let me calm down. And then you've got the comfort zone and the challenge zone. And people are reluctant to step out of the comfort zone into the challenge zone because the red space is so threatening. And you've beautifully described that experience. You don't want to go there again, so you're going to stay well away from it. And so what our job would be is to create a safe space and a brave space, to use the language we have at university, or a challenge space, which is a growth space, and therefore is a space that you feel able to take risks with me and say, well, is it this? And know that I'm not going to humiliate you, I'm not going to leave you behind, I'm not going to patronize you, I'm not going to do all these things that your brain knows deeply are unsafe.